Am I the asshole for not agreeing with my husband to fund his brother's trip from our joint savings?
I, 37F, and my husband, 38M, have been married for 9 years with 2 kids, 8Y0 and 1Y0.
We are both working and my husband earns more than me. From the start of our marriage, we agreed to keep a joint bank account and a personal bank account. In this way, we are able to share with the responsibilities of covering our family expenses and have our own money for personal needs. Recently, my brother-in-law, 41M, shared the news that his sister-in-law that lives overseas is getting married. Her immediate family in the country has been invited to attend the wedding. Her only sister, my BIL's wife, is expected to be there. The trip will require visa and, of course, plane tickets. As we know, traveling is a bit expensive. My brother-in-law has to pay for his plane tickets and visa processing as not all the expenses can be covered by his SIL. For this, my brother-in-law is asking, not borrowing, money from my husband to fund his travels. My husband was planning to give out, but he would take it from our joint account and not his personal account. I firmly said no and told him that if he wants to help he can get money from his personal account and give what he can afford. I also said that if his brother-in-law cannot afford the trip then he shouldn't be joining. His wife can go with her family to attend the wedding. My husband is now upset as he said that I said no and even mentioned that I was a bit insensitive as my family side was never in the situation to ask extra money from us. I told him that I do help out with my family side's expenses in case of emergency, but I never touch our joint account in helping them. My brother-in-law is still pestering my husband for his contribution, but my husband is still silent on how much to give. So, am I the asshole in this situation? It would seem like a reasonable thing for brother-in-law to borrow money. But a gift? That seems like a lot. Seems odd that your husband won't fund it out of his own account. One wonders if he can't, or it is so much that he doesn't want to. At any rate, not the asshole. Best monitor that account very closely. Partner can always take money out of a joint account without permission. And you have no recourse for getting it back, because the purpose of a joint account is that both people are allowed to do whatever with it. Not the asshole. Stuff like this needs to come from a personal account, not joint. Not the asshole. A loan maybe, but not an outright gift. Your husband can pay from his own account, not joint, if he wants to give the money. Why does anyone have to contribute? Not the asshole. It isn't a joint expense. Why isn't Sil's family helping them? Not the asshole. Stick on this. This is why you have separate personal accounts. My significant other and I go the same route with family. Shared expenses out of the joint account. But if my son needs money for a car repair, it's all me. If his daughter needs money for a deposit on an apartment, it's on him. Not the asshole. This isn't an emergency or a death, it's a vacation. Either way, if both parties don't agree on how the money should be spent, then it shouldn't be spent. Woman shrugging, medium dark skin tone. It's a joint account. He can help his brother with his personal money, like you said. But I don't fund vacations. Let's see if your husband does. Also, why was he so keen on spending the joint savings but not keen on spending his personal money? Would I be the asshole if I asked my partner to not smoke in my dad's house while we're on our trip? Is it wrong of me to ask my partner to not smoke in my dad's house while we're on our trip? For context, my partner smokes weed. I do not. It doesn't really bother me that he does, nor does it bother him that I don't. My dad's house has smoke alarms in nearly every room and hallway, and they're very sensitive. In the past, I've never had a problem with him smoking in the house, but on more than one occasion, the smoke alarms have gone off. Thankfully no one else was home on those occasions, and I've been very lenient with his habits. The last time we were at his house, my dad had to run to the store. My brother was in his room sleeping before work. My partner was in my room, smoking, and I was in the bathroom. I had the absolute shit scared out of me when I suddenly heard the smoke alarm go off. I ran into the kitchen and saw that the oven and stove was off, but when I walked into my room, my partner was trying to steer smoke out of the window and turn off the alarms. I stared at him and watched him frantically try to turn off the alarms. I'm too short to reach them, and in that moment I was pissed, so I just thought, this is a you problem. When the alarms finally shut off, I told him to not do that in my dad's house again, and he yelled, "Shut the fuck up," as if someone would have heard me,
In my mind that's stupid because the alarms just went off and my brother and I share a wall.
And he continued to smoke in my room for the remainder of our stay,
but would go to the bathroom at his parents' house to smoke. I don't know how to address my concerns about this, and I honestly don't think I'm asking too much of him by asking that he just not smoke in my room. I do not care if he goes out of the deck, to his car, even the bathroom, but my room is off limits. We're leaving for a trip in like 3 days, and I want to find a way to mention it before we step foot in the car, hopefully without starting a fight.
Not the asshole. If he's not willing to smoke outside, then he's the asshole. I'm a smoker. I only smoke inside if it's expressly permitted. If it's not, then I smoke outside.
Because to do otherwise makes you an asshole.
So you do this. Bring up that he set the smoke alarms off with inside smoking before, so you don't want him smoking inside this trip.
If he tells you to shut the fuck up, again, you tell him he's not coming with you on the trip or any other trip in the future. Then go find a man who respects you and isn't an asshole.
Not the asshole. He yelled, shut the fuck up. Seems like a nasty response to a simple request. I told him to not do that in my dad's house again. And he continued to smoke in my room for the remainder of our stay.
He doesn't respect you at all.
I honestly don't think I'm asking too much of him by asking that he just not smoke in my room.
He didn't respect your wishes last time. Why would he do anything different? Not the asshole for asking, but why are you with someone who can't respect a simple and easy boundary? And who seems to give you anxiety about even asking as it might start a fight?
Not the asshole.
It's absurd to light up a joint in someone else's home if they don't smoke and haven't given permission. There is no subtle way of smoking indoors, and it's unbelievably rude and childish to do that at anyone's house, let alone your partner's parents' house.
I say this as someone who smokes a lot more than I should. He needs to go outside. This shouldn't even be a discussion.
You're not the asshole, your partner is though. How much of an inconsiderate prick do you need to be to think it's okay to smoke in someone else's home without explicit permission? The bigger question is, why are you with someone who is this much of an inconsiderate prick?
Not the asshole.
It's your dad's house, right? His house, his rules.
I'm an adult. I drink occasionally. My parents don't drink at all. When I visit my parents, I don't drink. This isn't complicated.
Are you all very young?
Of course it's not unreasonable to ask someone not to do something in a house they don't live in, own. Are you going to visit your father with your boyfriend, or is there something else happening?
Either way, yeah, tell him not to smoke in the house.
Not the asshole.
You might be a dumbass for being in a relationship with someone who speaks to you like that and who you don't feel comfortable enough making a request to as benign as this. But there's not enough information to be sure.
I wouldn't ask someone not to smoke in my parents' house. I would be telling them. Am I the asshole when neighbors' kids won't stay off my new dock? We just built a dock, ramp, platform on our riverfront property, and my neighbors' kids and friends won't stay off of it.
We have spoken to the parents and explained that it's a liability, but as soon as we pack up and leave they are jumping and running all over it.
We posted no trespassing signs this week.
My other neighbors have sent us videos when we are not there, and we texted the parents.
The mother is nasty and replied that, "We got the message when your wife shrieked at them when she gave her permission hours earlier." I never shrieked or gave permission. My neighbor also informed us that the kids were throwing rocks at our new ramp late at night. I would like to nip this in the bud before it becomes a war, but I'm already biting at the bit to confront this woman this weekend. But who the hell does she think she is? Not the asshole. Just call the cops, get that part out of the way, and show any video you might have of them there without permission.
Get a cheap camera to turn on at the back when you aren't there and record so you can have them trespassed and possibly dealt with by the police. Not the asshole, and to protect yourself from liability, I would suggest calling the police the next time they do it. Presumably this dog had to be insured. Can your insurance agent suggest ways to secure the place from trespassers, so as to protect yourself from a liability perspective?
I apologize for my ignorance. I don't really know anything about dogs. Relationship is soured already.
Call the police.
Make it inconvenient for them, every single time. They will stop. Not the asshole.
You probably will need to document this and call the cops and probably get them trespassed from the property if they won't obey no trespassing signs.
And not just for you, but because you wouldn't want some kids to hurt or kill themselves.
Regardless of age, I wouldn't want some random people hanging out in my yard, but their behavior may not be safe.
If their parents won't keep them out of a dangerous situation or respect your rights, then you're stuck handling the situation with the law. Not the asshole. Call the cops, put up a fence, and send them written notice to stop using and intentionally damaging your property. You'll probably want to get a lawyer now for the inevitable lawsuits. She's already lying about you and putting words in your mouth. Not the asshole. Get cameras and please start calling the police instead of contacting her.
Don't give her any warning to it. You already have given her plenty of warnings.
Maybe the cops can catch them in the act.
Pick up a friend, take them back to your home. Have them leave with your car during peak trespass hours. You stay behind to call the police and record them. Have your friend return with your car after you get your evidence.
If you need to confront the neighbor again, then record, if it's one-party consent by the way. Keep all texts, and if this person calls, then you need to record the phone calls. Am I the asshole for not taking my kids to see my ex's wife in the hospital?
My ex's wife of 5.5 years is in the hospital after a miscarriage led to complications and life-saving surgery.
I have custody of our kids, 10 and 8, this week and was asked to take them to see her.
My kids do not have a good relationship with my ex's wife, or my ex, and neither do I. So I said no. My ex was pissed and told me his wife needs all the kids around. They have one together.
I still refused. He told me I'm heartless and she has a right to have her family around her. I was not moved and still did not take them. Now for the background. My ex and I broke up when our youngest was 1. He met his wife not long after. They have a very rocky relationship. Lots of cheating on his part. They got married despite the cheating and they hate the fact I don't leave the kids with them and let them pretend to be a family of 5. They had a child together and now they claim there is no breaking up no matter how bad it gets. Unfortunately, between my kids and my ex and his wife telling me details of their relationship, I know far too much. It's toxic but not toxic enough to change custody of my kids in the eyes of the courts. I have tried.
Even a therapist thought it would be in my kids' best interest. But they are cared for and that seems to be all that counts. The relationship between me and them is toxic too when we interact, so I keep any and all interactions to a minimum. I document all relevant things that could help with custody. I keep my kids in therapy. Ex doesn't take them. And I try to give my kids stability and a safe space to talk. They know their dad's wife is in the hospital. They do not want to see her. My ex's mom also asked me to let the kids go see her. She said this is a hard time and the family should lean on each other during this time. That bettering the relationships are important. Ex reached out again last night and told me he wants the kids at the hospital today. I replied no. He told me I'm trying to destroy the family and should be ashamed and the kids will be there every day when he has them. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. That entire second paragraph is more than enough reason to not have the kids near these two. I was also going to ask if your kids wanted to, but someone already asked that and you said they didn't, so you're in the clear. Your ex is the asshole for his cheating and his wife is the asshole to herself for marrying a cheater, but I'm more in tune to believe she is a victim and is having a lot of trouble leaving this man. Unless they are toxic to each other, and if that is the case then they shouldn't be together. Not the asshole. The kids are old enough to make the call here. You asked them, they said they don't want to go. If it's during your residential time, you don't have to take them. End of story. Since he plans on taking them every day when he has them, I'd be speaking with my attorney about changing the residential schedule. He's forcing an uncomfortable situation on these kids to spend time with someone they don't have a parental connection with during a time where that relationship is extremely important. Emo. Otherwise, it's just weird and awkward. Not the asshole. She is a grown adult. It's not a child's job to comfort her or support her. It's inappropriate. They asked, you said no, they need to move on. I hope you live in a state where at 12 the judge takes your kid's opinion into account. This is such a toxic and stressful situation. Stress is linked to miscarriage. I'm sure the wife's body is in a constant state of fight or fight, so I'm not surprised this pregnancy ended. They are very irresponsible and abusive to want to bring more kids into this vile dynamic. I hope at some point they lose custody of their joint child. They are both unfit. Your kids didn't want to go. Not the asshole. They aren't her children. My kids do not have a good relationship with my ex's wife, or my ex, and neither do I.
Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
His threat that he will make the kids be there every day when he has them. Wow. That just makes your no more necessary.
I can't even believe the hospital will let that many people be in her room. They are likely to spend all their time out in a waiting room.